apologies for being a couple minutes late, y'all. We were running orientation beforehand. Okay. Good afternoon. The September 8th, 2025 meeting of the West Virginia University Faculty Senate will come to order. One announcement in terms of change to the agenda is that there is not going to be a report at the head of the guest reports on the provost search because President Benson is going to address that during his report. But if you want more information from the provost search committee chairs, Diana Davis is right there in the back, and you can ask her about that. Okay, returning to regular business. The minutes for the May 5, 2025 Faculty Senate meeting are attached to today's agenda for review and approval. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Next is my report, which is longer than will usually be because we've not met since May. First of all, I would like to welcome you all to the first meeting of the Faculty Senate for the 2025-2026 school year. This is an exciting new year for WVU. We have a new president. Welcome, President Benson, who is building a new administrative team. And I know we're looking forward to working together to build a brighter future for WVU now that some of the headwinds we've faced are past and behind us. I want to thank every single senator in this room and the ones who are currently on Zoom for agreeing to work as part of this body this year. I think we're all very well aware of the fact that in the current situations of the 2020s at WVU, there are a lot of other conflicting things to do as part of your work life. Many of you have a higher level of classes you teach now. Many of you have fewer grad students than you used to have. I realize it's a challenging thing to take time out and put time into this body, but it's very important you do so. Very, very much respect you having done it. Faculty Senate, University Assembly, and are very important and serve the larger university in ways that strengthen it. Faculty have unique knowledge and expertise in sharing that, working with one another to clarify problems, hone ideas, and to collaborate, coming up with efficient, informed solutions improves the quality of the day-to-day and workplace environment that we have, but also our research and also the education. Not solve everything. If you're looking to me to solve parking problems, I am not the guy to do it. We are not going to be able to do that as a body, probably. We can do a lot here, and your time is very much worth it.
Thing wouldn't have big boxes.
Yeah, I'd say the mic's on the podium and it's sticking up.
We will also work to improve ourselves as an institution. Over the summer, our committee met to fine-tune the final proposed revisions to the faculty constitution. The purpose of this revision is to improve the efficiency of our shared governance work and make it less burdensome to take part in than it has been in the past. This has been a lengthy process, and whether you were part of the start of it in 2023 or whether you were part of it this summer, I thank you for the work you put into it. We will bring the final proposed version of this to the Senate this fall. Let's see. Like I said, a lot happened this summer. Since taking over the role of chair of this body this summer, I've had very productive conversations with our new president, the interim provost, and several senior administrators on everything from the university's budget to student life priorities to our university's new strategic communication strategies. For everything I've witnessed, President Benson and his team have been extremely forthcoming, sharing not only their plans, but sharing information and data to support them, making sure faculty leaders understand why the changes that are being made are occurring. You can never tell what the future holds, but President Benson and his leadership team have laid the roots for a productive and respectful relationship between the administration and WVU's faculty. Hopefully, this will lead to building a real trust between the university's leadership and WVU faculty, something that would greatly benefit our institution. Of course, I am but one person among the leaders of this body, and I want to make sure you know who all the rest of them are. So, yes, I'm going to be that guy kind of doing a first day of class kind of thing. Diana, would you please stand up? Diana Davis is the immediate past chair at Faculty Senate. And Matt Valenti is the chair-elect of Faculty Senate. Jason, I know you're in here somewhere. Jason Gross is the faculty representative of state government. And Lauren is our brand new secretary. And so given wherever you are personally situated in WVU, you might know one of them better than me, that's great. Reach out to them. You want to reach out to me? That's great too. We're looking to make this a collaborative body this year. And as part of that, I've actually moved the regular leadership meetings for the Senate leadership group to the Tuesday after these meetings. The purpose behind that being, if something comes up in here, I want us to be able to kind of respond to y'all immediately with a kind of shared conversation that we've had to think through things that come up. Because, hey, it's 2025. Things can happen fast in higher education. And of course, I did partially not say his name before because he deserves a special spot. Corey, who is, well, he has actual, yes, Corey. While of course he does have an official title and whatnot, think of him as the blood of Faculty Senate, the oil that makes Faculty Senate move. He is the person who will help you organize thoughts for larger conversations here on the Senate floor or in your committee work. We cannot thank Corey enough for what he does for shared governance and WVU. Let's see. Also, I did want to also kind of stress, getting underway at this point, all for the 2025-2026 school year are the Faculty Senate committees. These are much more sort of precise bodies looking at specific topics. So libraries, research, service, student rights and responsibilities, many, many different topics that would be of interest to the faculty of this institution in one way or another. And they involve not only people who are part of this body, but of course, other faculty as well. We are only 5% of WVU faculty. There's 95% out there and they need to have spaces to be part of shared governance as well. The committees provide a good avenue for that to occur. And so hopefully you all will be active on committees this year. I've asked the committee chairs to have their first meetings by September the 19th and get back to me on the priorities that they want to set for their committee this year. Basically, our agenda as a Senate body on these Mondays is going to be set by a combination of Senate committee priorities and the outcome of the mini meetings that Diana and I had back in the spring term, where we got a lot of information from you all about pressing needs of the faculty at WVU. And I think that's it. I'll try and be shorter in October. That concludes my report. Are there any questions? Okay. Let's see. We will now review the consent agenda. The consent agenda is used to handle routine and non-controversial business, allowing us to approve multiple items with one vote. Any member of the Faculty Senate may remove an item from the consent agenda. Removed items will be moved to the associated committee report later in the agenda. We only have one item on the consent agenda today, Annex 1, updated committee rosters from the Committee on Committees. Are there any requested changes to the consent agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Okay, the consent agenda is approved. Now we'll move on to the Standing Committee report section of the agenda. The first report will be from the Curriculum Committee, Kate Johnson. I haven't actually seen her today. Hear anything? Oh, okay. All right. Okay. An efficient meeting. All right. Next up is the General Education Foundations Committee report from Cody Hood.
Hi, everyone. I'm here online. Can you hear me? Awesome. So in case those of you who don't know me, my name is Cody Hood. I'm with Eberly, and I'm the chair of the General Education Foundations Committee. We don't have too much to report, but I just want to keep everyone updated on what our mission statement is going to be for this upcoming academic year. So in addition to all of our normal responsibilities, the committee is also going to take a charge of working as collaboratively and supportive of the general education revisioning process as we can. So I'm sure there'll be moments in time where we'll be reaching out and sharing information with you on that on behalf of Lindsay and the rest of their team. In addition to that, we have been working closely with the Honors College about revamping our component of the HFC. And so hopefully we can have some reports for you all about that at our next meeting. But that's the end of my report.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for Cody? Okay, next up is the Teaching and Assessment Committee report from Ashley Sowards.
So our first meeting is this Friday, actually, so I'll have a more formal report after that. But a couple of things we're working on are some changes coming down from federal guidelines with accessibility and maybe some updates to the SPOT interface. So faculty just be on the lookout for emails about those changes.
Any questions for Ashley? Okay, thank you. Next are two reports from Leslie Cottrell, a report from the Committee on Committees and a report as faculty representative to the Board of Governors. Leslie.
Hello. School of Medicine, Leslie Cottrell. So for the Committee on Committees, I just want to second what Scott said. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone who volunteered their time as a member on those rosters. You saw the names, as well as thank you for those who have stepped up for leadership in those committees. It is imperative that we, as Scott mentioned, that we continue our committee work. And so just thank you very much. And Corey and I will provide support. Corey's fabulous. Anything you need, you just let us know. There were a couple of committees that we are continuing to work on that you did not see on that annex. You will see coming in once those are finalized. We don't want to put anyone's name out there who hasn't confirmed. And so otherwise, that's all I had for the committee. Thanks to previous committee members, they set this roster, and the current ones ready.
Any questions for Leslie about the Committee on Committees report?
Okay, the Board of Governors. All right. So first, I'm on thanking mode. Faculty who joined us on the June meeting for Board of Governors. It was wonderful to see your faces, to have that support. And many of you had a seat at the front table. And so you had an additional level of support that you may not have intended. But thank you very much. During that June meeting, and that was the last official meeting that we've had for Board of Governors, there was a slight change in leadership. And so just to review that, all that's available on the website. I encourage everyone to review. Rusty Hudson is the new chair. Bob Reynolds is the vice chair, and Paul Maddox is the secretary. That Board of Governors does have several committees. Those committees did not necessarily change, maybe some wording. That's also listed on the website. And so academic affairs and accreditation, governance, audit, divisional campus, executive, finance, facilities, and revitalization. And then the last one is strategic plans and initiatives. So Scott and I are on separate kind of divide and conquer assignments for those. Scott's on the academic affairs and accreditation and audit committees. I'm on the governance, finance, and facilities and revitalization, as well as the divisional campus. So we are still on these committees. We do get to see executive session materials, and that is a follow-up in terms of losing our vote as representatives during the June meeting and the legislative season. We talked a little bit about that in May. So the take-home point is we are still at the table. The level is TBD. I think we're all trying to figure out what that looks like and how that feels along the way. So we'll keep everyone abreast. We have 19 members now as a result of that legislative piece. New members that were all appointed by the governor: Charles Wilfong, Jim Martin, Oliver Luck, and Terry Hauser. Our student rep is Colin Street. He's the president of the student government. Diane Stewart is the new classified staff representative. So we have a lot of new faces on that. And just as Scott had mentioned, if you have any questions, ideas, thoughts, input, do not hesitate to reach out to us, to our staff representative, our student representative. There's a lot of combined collaboration in that. And with that, our next meeting is Thursday and Friday of this week. We'll have more for you next week. Go ahead.
Any questions for Leslie about the Board of Governors? Go.
Joe Jones, College of Creative Arts and Media. Leslie, thank you for your service to this organization. You did say, so we lost our vote on the Board of Governors. You did say it's TBD. It sounds like though you first described that nothing has really changed. I hope nothing does change. I hope if it does become determined and not TBD anymore, that you will let this body know so that we can actually make sure nothing changes, because I don't think anything should change. I mean, maybe we all know how the kind of vote went down and why we lost our vote. But I hope we have some kind of, if not active strategy, that you will come back to this body so that we can make our voices be heard if something does change, even though nothing should have changed, if that makes any sense. So thank you for that.
It does. And I would. We have a couple different mechanisms, our shared governance committee, as well as the leadership group that Scott mentioned. So yes, it'll come back so that we could modify, get the document out, whatever we feel like.
Any other questions for Leslie? Next on the agenda is the report from the faculty representative of state government, Jason Gross.
Thanks, Scott. Jason Gross from Statler College. So this summer, we had the first meeting of the statewide advisory council of faculty. So this is established by state code, has representation from every higher education institution and community and technical college. And there was a sentiment among the group that we need to be a little more proactive as faculty and contact our legislatures, let them know that this group exists. So we divided up the map based on counties and districts closest to each institution, just to introduce ourselves, let them know that there is an ACF. If there are issues that are impacting higher education or faculty, we're an advisory group that we're ready to be contacted. At that first meeting, we elected officers, and I self-nominated to become that group's legislative coordinator, right? So again, trying to be proactive. From that exercise, there were some members of the House and Senate that I got to meet late in the summer, early in the fall semester, just to let them know that, hey, we're a group that wants to represent faculty interests. Also established a monthly meeting with Travis Mollahan and Dan Kimball to keep up on things affecting higher education that we would want to keep on top of to try to be proactive. This week, there are the interim committees at the state legislature, so we might hear if there's something that comes up in one of those meetings. But beyond that, just kind of get started and welcome any feedback if anybody has issues they want to try to share the faculty impact to our state representatives. So thank you.
Questions for Jason? All right, thanks. Next up is a report from President Michael T. Benson. President Benson.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is a pleasure to be in the room where it happened because I've only seen these meetings on YouTube. So whoever was responsible for the soundtrack beforehand, I think, was that Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? That's my favorite movie, by the way. I don't know who it was good. I want to thank also, Leslie gave a report, and I want to stay as clear as I possibly can that I am very grateful for Scott, Leslie, Diane, and Colin. Yes, it's a different kind of composition of the board and the way they will do things moving forward. But still in all, their voice is heard. They are part of the executive session. They will continue to have, I know, your interests represented to the full board, and I'm very grateful for the role they play. So Leslie, thank you. And Scott, I think we were on, 4 hours worth of Zooms today, or 5. We've got committee meetings leading up to the discussion on Thursday night, and then the full board on Friday. So there's a lot going on right now. It is great to be here, and this is my 31st year of starting a fall semester, and it never gets old. The excitement of welcoming a freshman class, which I should add, looks like it may be our biggest freshman class since 2022, nearly 4,500 students. Helping them move in, talk to parents, ask students why they chose WVU. I ran into 2 students today from Virginia one from Alexandria, one from Richmond, and I asked them point blank, I said, why'd you choose West Virginia? And they both said, we want to get out of, we want to get away from home. But they both came on campus tours, and they knew from the moment they stepped foot on campus that this is where they wanted to be. And I emphasize this today to our Academic Affairs Committee that we're going to do a lot more polling of our students of why they chose the university. I've done this at other places. It's always about academics. It's about price. But a lot of it's tied to the feeling they had when they came to campus. So you're going to hear a lot more from our new Vice President for Enrollment Management, who has said that he wants to win West Virginia. We need to improve our market share of the high school graduates from the state that choose us as their school of choice. So you'll hear a lot more about that. But it was great to hear from these gentlemen today why they came to the university. Tomorrow I begin my second tranche of my Welcome Home Tour. I'm going to hit 3 more counties, so that will bring the total to 21 to 55. And I mentioned that because everywhere I've gone, it's been reinforced of what this university means to people. Whether it's the flying WV on the side of hospitals, I've been to 11 of them now, 11 to 25, or it's the flags flying out in front of a house, or the Let's Go bumper stickers that I've seen, or the people will stop me and say, you know, my tie to the university goes back to my grandfather, who used the GI Bill after World War II and was the first in his family to go to college. And it's not lost on me what this place means, what it means to them, what it means to our state. And I feel a tremendous responsibility to make you, our students, our staff, and our alumni even more proud of their WVU education. So that's what I pledge to do all I can to do that. I've had the chance to visit 3 colleges during kind of the welcome back week. I wish I could have hit all of them, but next year we're going to try and do it depends on dates and if we can make it work, but a welcome back convocation for everybody. I'll even buy breakfast. We'll get started with a kind of a state of the university, what's happened over the summer, the previous year, and then if I can make it around to all the individual colleges, because I think it's really important to ask them what's on their minds and to take any questions. I mentioned enrollment. You'll really like Fabrizio D'Alozio. He goes by Foz. He's coming to us from the University of Tennessee at Knoxville. One thing that really attracted me to his application, and I asked him a lot of pointed questions, because if you look at SEC schools, they're bucking the trend that a lot of places in the Northeast, the Midwest, even out West are experiencing. And he talked about how it's all about expanding the funnel. That when he got to UT Knoxville, 5-6 years ago, they had 27,000 applications. This year they had over 65,000 applications. So the more students you get into that funnel, the more obviously you're going to have kids matriculate, but you're going to have more prepared students that are ready for college work that will do what? Persist, retain, and graduate. So I'm really excited about having him in front of you, and I would suggest to the chair at maybe one of your meetings, he can come and talk about strategies. He did that today to one of our subcommittees, and they were very energized. To have someone that every day gets out of bed and thinks about how can I increase enrollment for willing, capable, qualified students at West Virginia University is very, very important. The numbers, as I said, are still a little bit fluid, but looks like we'll have our biggest class, freshman class since 2022, and all our projected fall numbers remain in line. So I tell you that because we don't anticipate any sort of mid-year adjustments, but stay tuned. And we don't provide the census number to Charleston until Paul, the second week in October. So it's coming up. The University Board of Governors did approve a budget. It's in a budget book, which is posted online. And I believe, Scott, you'll share with everybody a link so you can review those numbers after the meeting today. We have to operate certainly within our means, but there are some kind of fixed costs that we have to address. One is PEIA, which continues to increase. My previous campus, we had the oldest building on campus dates back to 1956. Stewart Hall was built in 1902. We have some deferred maintenance issues that are really pressing, and I'm if I asked you where your office was or where you taught, I'm sure you could share stories. So that is top of mind for us. We have to replenish our deferred maintenance fund and make sure we take good care, particularly of our aging structures. You may have heard about this board's kind of focus on athletics, particularly how we do within the Big 12 and being in the upper tier in terms of being competitive. It's a very different landscape, and I anticipated the sun would come up on Sunday, and it did. Despite what happened on Saturday, I still look forward to the Saturday because everyone's told me about the Pitt game. But I just want to tell you that we'll do all we can to be competitive. But I emphasize again to the Academic Affairs Committee, we are first and foremost an academic institution. And we will never, ever relinquish that focus or diminish that focus. That's who we are and what we do. The provost hire, I want to first thank Paul for his taking on the role of interim provost. I really enjoy working with Paul. At times he can be a little irascible, but he, in a good way, Paul. But I know he has the interests of the institution at heart. I also want to thank Diana and Evan Witters for their co-chairing. You can go to the Provost Search website and see the members of the committee. The national search, if the provost, excuse me, for the vice president for enrollment management, if that's any indication of the quality of candidates that we're going to get, I can promise you this is going to be a very robust pool of qualified candidates. So we will, once we've gone through the listening sessions, we are now in the process of creating a profile that will go live nationally, and then applications will start to come in. Our intention is to bring 3 to 5 finalists to campus, and you can put them through your paces. So we will have different kinds of meetings with faculty, staff, students, and then an open session where they, in effect, will be given a prompt. And in a town hall session, maybe not dissimilar to this, they can present and you can grill them. And we'll see how they do. So that's our plan, and I'm really excited. Again, I want to thank everybody for their service on that committee. I'm looking forward, and I'll conclude with this and then open to questions, to my first State of the University address, which is coming up on October the 13th. I shared in a column recently a proposed draft of a mission statement. We've come up with some ideas that we are starting to kind of, as they say now, socialize, kind of get in front of different groups. I've had a chance to speak to the university leadership team. I'm now going from college to college. My first college will be Thursday at the Statler. How many from Statler? Please raise your hands. So I'll have a chance to try out on you some ideas that we have. And then we want to have a lot more input. Look, everyone, I've had a few people say, how is your strategic plan coming? I said, it is not my strategic plan. It's I hope, the product of a lot of effort and thought and careful consideration as we have a plan to move us forward. But if you don't have a plan, you don't know where you're going. And it's really important to our board to have metrics and dashboards and things that we can measure and report out. So you'll hear a lot more about that in the next little while. I'll stop there, but I will tell you that I really look forward to associating with you, the faculty senate. I've told my home department in Eberly, the Department of History, that I hope a utility player and they can put me to work. Next fall, I kind of need to get my sea legs under me. But I look forward to teaching and get back in the classroom, because what you all do is at the heart of the institution. And I very much appreciate the role you have as our faculty. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Hi, Joe Jones, College
Hi,
of
Joe.
Creative Arts and Media.
Yeah.
I am there with you, making people proud of their WVU education, and I will help you win market share and get students into the funnel and do all of that. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about your specifics outside of sports, how we might, I hate using the word brand, but how we might put WVU forward as that kind of an institution that people want to go to outside of sports.
Well, I think one of the most important things we can do is to, I've heard my associates talk about, take back the mic. That for several years, we kind of let others dictate what was going on, or at least tell the narrative. And we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to be very aggressive about our communications, about our storytelling. I think the most compelling messaging you can do is telling stories about what you're doing, about what our students are doing, about what our graduates are doing. And that messaging is key. By the way, I've said that there may be competition within the state, but our competition is Penn State and Pitt and Virginia Tech and UVA and Ohio State. We had a conversation today about who is our peer set and how do we stack up against them in terms of dashboards. So if I can make a compelling argument to a student in New Jersey that you can pay less coming to West Virginia than you would at Rutgers or at Temple or someplace else, the same goes for the students in Pennsylvania. And here's a really important data point that I hope you'll remember. We've looked at the student demographic, and you've heard about this cliff, and it's coming, and it's here. This was that one kind of upsurge year. But we only produced just over 17,000 high school graduates in the state of West Virginia this year. The state of Pennsylvania and Ohio both produced 118,000 apiece. So I believe we will never, ever deny a spot to a West Virginia high school graduate that wants to come here. But I really believe we got to go north and get that market share. So it comes in the form of a metro rate for some areas, really targeted marketing. And Fabrizio is going to come and talk to you exactly about how he's going to do that. And part and parcel of how we recruit students is how we recruit people to support the university. And that's the messaging I think that you're talking about.
Great, thank you. And I really should have started with thank you for coming and sharing your time with us. Just a quick follow-up as a suggestion. We have done a lot of communication as far as the STEM programs, and that's great. We have great, strong STEM programs. I would also recommend, I know you're a history person, we have a great humanities center here. We do a lot of great work in the humanities. And that might be a part of kind of our new identity going forward. So thank you.
Yeah. No, I remember I met with your college and I promised new carpet in the Center for the Arts.
I was the only one to ask you a question there too, so I'm feeling a little weird, but thank you for always dealing with me.
You bet. Absolutely. Thank you. Yes.
Hello. My name is Doug Terry. I'm at WVU Tech. And my question is just a simple one. You're talking about the provost search, and I was just wondering if the candidates will also be coming to the regional campuses like Tech, or we'll have an opportunity to have a look at them too. That's my only question.
Yes, they will. And Doug, by the way, I stopped off in Beckley on, let's see, it was Thursday of last week, and made a stop in to see President Stewart. I'm going to make it a point to get out to Kaiser and Beckley on a regular basis. I think it's really key that our regional campuses feel a part of what we're doing here, and that they see the president, they see the provost, and I really value. I mean, imagine both of those communities without those institutions. So we've got to do everything we can to support them. And Phil Dothett, the Dean of Academic and Student Affairs from Potomac State, is on the committee. So thank you for the question, Doug.
Thank you. And we'd appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Yes.
I am Val Gritsenko from School of Medicine, and I'm wondering what your vision of scholarship, how you see scholarship and our efforts in that direction toward supporting your efforts of recruiting more students.
As in faculty scholarship?
Faculty scholarship,
Yes.
yeah.
I would say first and foremost, institutional reputation is gauged a lot of different ways. Members of the national academies on your faculty, citations for you in specific journals. I would argue that you are a better faculty member, a better teacher, the more scholarship you do in your area. So I'm going to support whatever we can to produce more research and development dollars to give you the time you need to do scholarship. I see our academic interim vice president for research, meaning that I know will back me up. Because if we want to do better in terms of the rankings, and quite frankly, there are a lot of different rankings that you can look at, but we're in that bottom quartile of the Big 12. And a lot of that, I think, stems from the reputation that people have had of us for a long time. And I want to pivot, and I want to change that. We want to change that. And that is at the core of our mission as an academic institution, which is inextricably tied to scholarship. So I'm here to support you any way I can. And I hope I can lead by example and to continue to publish. That last book of mine took it out of me, but it was my COVID project. And I'm so glad I did it because at the crux of the book is the American Research University, and we're seeing it get dismantled in many ways in front of our eyes, is the key to our success as a country, to our very advanced economy, and to all the technological advances that have emanated from our campus for years. So that's I hope I'm showing through my own scholarship and writing that I support tenfold what you all are doing.
So much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the question. All right, Mr. Chair. Any other? There we go. Thank you very much.
And next, we have a report from Interim Provost Paul Kreider.
Thank you, Scott. Good to be with you today. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Fall's in full swing. And I know I'm busy. I'm sure you are as well. I've got a few updates for you just to make sure you're aware. At the College of Law, Susan Brewer officially stepped in as her interim dean position beginning in July. She is the former CEO of Steptoe & Johnson and the first woman to lead a major law firm in Appalachia. The search for a new permanent dean of the law school is ongoing, and the chair of the search committee, Joshua Hall, dean of the Chambers College, and we meet tomorrow with the search partners from Greenwood Asher, and we're going to have a discussion about the pool. And right now, the scheduled first review of the search committee of the applicants is scheduled for later this month. In the next few months, we'll also be launching 2 additional dean searches at the national level. We have also hired Greenwood Asher to facilitate those 2 searches. The first is the Eberly College of Arts and Sciences. Dean Dunaway has announced his stepping down from the deanship and returning to the faculty. And he led the college for 10 years, and he is excited to be returning to a professorial position. Also this spring, we'll be wishing a happy retirement to WVU Libraries Dean Karen Diaz, who first joined WVU as an associate dean in January of 2016. She was appointed permanent dean in 2018 by then Provost Joyce McConnell. The university, as I said, will launch a search for both these positions with Greenwood Asher, and we plan to establish search committees by early October, and with the understanding that the library search is a little bit more important than the Eberly search in terms of timing, because Dean Diaz would like to retire this spring. She hasn't given us a definitive date. She's willing to stay on as long as it takes to find a new dean, but she's ready to go at some point in the spring semester. As many of you are aware, Associate Provost Melissa Latimer has transitioned into a phased retirement, and we've been working to delegate and reassign some of her responsibilities in our Provost's office. So for your awareness, the Teaching and Learning Center is now still under the Office of the Provost, but reports to Associate Provost Lou Slimak. The Women's Resource Center and the LGBTQ Center, which reported to Melissa, are now reporting into Student Life. The WVU Press has moved back to the WVU libraries and working closely with libraries. The internal WVU faculty awards will continue to be managed and centrally out of our office. Another change of note is the Office of Academic Integrity. It's now under the Office of the Provost, moved from Student Life, and it is reporting to Evan Witters. You're going to hear for a little bit later from Paul Headings today, our Director of Academic Integrity, about some learning modules, and we're excited to have him reporting into the Office of the Provost at this time. Another change that came about this summer is a new portal, I'm calling it. It's a faculty website, and it is faculty.wvu.edu. It got a refreshed look and updated restructuring to better highlight the resources available to our faculty. So I ask you to take a moment, look through the page that's resources for academic development. If you think of something that can be added, let us know. We hope to keep this a living resource and fluid as it reflects the tools, resources, and opportunities available to our faculty. So we're continuing to work on streamlining our general education curriculum and processes. We have begun to truly rethink and re-envision that curriculum to ensure we are reaching meaningful educational goals that serve our students' needs right now and also into the future. Having committed faculty members to help lead this process, it is essential to its success. And late this last spring, we convened a 7-member General Education Revision Committee, and those folks have 2-year appointments. The committee members represent a diverse group of WVU faculty, with Lindsay Morris Newberger as its chair, and she's from the Eberly College of Arts and Sciences and chair of the Department of Communication. She serves as chair of this group alongside our Associate Provost, Evan Witters, and Lou Slimak. So over the summer, the committee began researching general education programs at other institutions with particular attention to innovative new models. They were also asked to look at scholarly research on the topic. So they've had their, just recently they had their first meeting for this fall semester, and the committee's initial task this year will be to survey university stakeholders like yourselves, including students and alumni and employers, and to get their views on general education, curriculum, and the academic skill sets we'd like our students to have. We also will have a conversation not only about that curriculum, but also about graduation requirements. What could they be? What should they be? So I want to reiterate also an important message from ITS, and you may have seen this. WVU replaced its identity management system with a new system, OKTA. I think that's called OKTA. Is that right? I'll go with that. OKTA sounds good to me. So everyone with a WVU login was required to activate their OKTA account, and all new WVU accounts are also now created on OKTA. So the OKTA Verify app will replace Duo Mobile. A second phase of the project began this summer, which includes moving the authentication for all WVU applicants from Duo to the new, more secure OKTA system. This authentication transition period will continue until Duo's retirement on October 1st. So that's less than a month away. You can download OKTA Verify at any time, but soon it will be required, and you will see a prompt requiring you to complete this setup step. Until you complete this, you will be temporarily unable to access apps that use OKTA for authentication, like Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, and Qualtrics. So the requirement dates for OKTA Verify are as follows. September 9, faculty, staff, and affiliates with sponsored accounts on the Morgantown, Beckley, and Kaiser campuses. What's today? The 8th. September 11 for students. September 16 for HSC, Morgantown, Charleston, and Eastern campuses. So the best way you can prepare is to go ahead and enroll in OKTA Verify as soon as possible. Step-by-step instructions are available at the IT Help Center, and they have been sent by email and e-news. Just want to tell you, on Friday, I did this on myself. I said, well, I got time, I'll do this. It took less than 3 minutes. So I encourage you to get on and do it quickly. But don't delete Duo, because there still may be some transition time and some things may be on the Duo site versus OKTA. So just be aware of that. Everything should be transferring over to OKTA at the end of this month. One final bit of advice. You should possibly also enroll a backup device in the event that you lose your phone or whatever device you have OKTA on. I would encourage you to use a spare phone as well for OKTA, or a tablet, or maybe get a hardware token. So again, October 1st, this will be happening. If you have questions, you can contact the ITS service desk at 293-4444. Okay. So lastly, just a few quick reminders. The deadline for the West Virginia Higher Education Policy Commission's Open Learning West Virginia Challenge Grants has been extended to September 15. This $25,000 grant is designed to fund innovative, collaborative projects that expand access to no-cost learning materials and support the broader adoption and integration of open educational resources across all of our institutions in West Virginia. An important component of this grant is cross-functional collaboration with a faculty partner, including librarians. If you are interested, reach out to WVU Libraries for more information on how to partner. Another September 15 deadline is the First Gen Faculty Champion application. Through a grant awarded by HEPSI, a group of researchers are addressing official challenges in recruiting, retaining, and supporting the success of first-generation college students. They're looking for passionate, empathetic faculty members who are themselves first-generation graduates to serve as mentors to freshmen and sophomores just beginning their college journey. If interested, you can reach out to Michelle Richards-Babb in chemistry, Cynthia Pacheco at the Honors College, Michelle Payton, Marjorie Dara in math, and Lori Ogden in math. So please, if you're interested, please reach out to those folks. Honorary degree nominations for the May 2026 conferral are open and should be received by Friday, October 3rd. The honorary committee meets a week or two after that deadline. So details of the nomination packets are available at honorarydegrees.wvu.edu. Again, the deadline is October 3rd. And the Honors College has put out its call for faculty fellow applications for the 26-27 academic year. Those are due by November 7th. Details, of course, are on the Honors College website. So that is my report. I'm open to any questions.
Hi, Megan Lake, College of Creative Arts and Media. Provost Kreider, I wondered if we can talk a little bit more about the Eberly Edge program that has been rolled out this fall and the implication of not bringing it to Faculty Senate and how it's impacting or will impact kind of the other schools. And I'll let you start.
So I really don't have a lot of information about Eberly Edge. I know that Associate Provost Witters and Associate Provost Slimak had worked with them on this program. There were some various discussions. It is not a degree program that had to be approved by Faculty Senate. It is a collection of courses that are designed to give students experiences. And so beyond that, I am really out of the loop on this, and we can ask them to come and talk about it.
I think the concern is the majority of us all went through academic transformation to varying degrees. The College of Creative Arts and Media became a new college, and the idea is that the Eberly Edge program keeps students within Eberly, and it forces students to take courses that are solely housed in Eberly. So thinking of the arts more generally, we feel very passionately, I think Joe and I both do, that there are things beyond arts and sciences at WVU. And so by not coming to Senate, I don't think many of us know about this new degree program, the kind of, or at least the new checklist, I would assume, that students now have to go through that are incoming freshmen, and how that's going to impact courses. And frankly, many of the new budget models are talking about how we generate revenue out of having people in seats in our courses. So I teach something like 500 students a year now in my introductory art history courses, as an example. So I think, in lack of not having them here to talk, I wondered if we could also think about, are there ways to propose courses be included in the Eberly Edge program? It's going forward, or it already has gone forward, to be, I don't know, considered as part of that degree program now, outside of the college.
I really can't answer that. I think that that's something that deans should discuss.
Okay.
I'm not sure even if the courses in the Eberly Edge, if any of those were new courses. If they were, they had to be approved by Faculty Senate curriculum. But I can't even answer that question. I don't know.
No, I think it restricts the elective students are able to take outside of Eberly.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the concern. So, okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi there, Catherine Fonseca, WVU Libraries. Regarding the library dean search, I know that Dean Diaz shared with us that she sent you a short list of representatives that you might consider for the search committee. I guess I would just first kind of ask about timeline around sharing that search committee membership, and then sort of float a consideration that at least a library faculty member outside the dean's office might be a part of that, that a library staff member be a part of that, and that a library representative from one or both of the regional campuses might be a part of that, but anything to
So-
share about
So
sharing?
we have a preliminary draft of the committee. There's certainly a library staff person from Morgantown, a library faculty member from Morgantown. There is also a representative from a regional campus, and there is a representative from the dean's office. There are representatives across the campus as well on that committee. And there will be a dean that'll be chairing that search. Again, it's a draft. We're still finalizing it. Those folks, I don't think have even been considered or spoken to at this point in time.
Okay.
But I would say this is the 8th, probably in the next 2 weeks, we'll get something out for the college or the libraries to see.
Great. And
Okay.
was that regional campus representative from a regional campus library or just generally?
From the library.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Hi, Joe Jones, College of Creative Arts and Media. Paul, or Provost, sorry. I was wondering if
Paul's
you could, Paul, yeah, that's how we talk on a daily basis. I was wondering if there's any movement on HB 3297. For those of you who don't know, the state passed in the last legislature the establishment of the Washington Center for Civics, Culture, and Statesmanship, where money was going to be allocated to make new hires. I couldn't tell you what the center is, something about instilling students with the values of Western civilization. So I'm just wondering if there's any movement on that, and if there was or if there wasn't, do you think this is something that should fall under the provost office?
So as the legislation is written, and I don't have it in front of me, obviously, but what I recall is that the center is a self-contained unit that reports in through the provost and up to the president. The governor appoints the director. And the only movement we've had so far is the governor's office throwing a resume to us and saying, what's your, review this resume, tell us what you think. We told them what they thought. We told them what we thought, and they did a little further research and they pulled that resume. We've heard nothing else since that date. And that date, I want to say, was about a month ago. And so we are still waiting. We do know that there's $1.5 million allocated to this center from the governor. We know that the director has to file a report at the end of each fiscal year about the activities of the center. The director will hire faculty. That is all we know at this point in time. You've read the legislation. Really beyond that, we don't know much else.
Okay, I teach media history, law, ethics, First Amendment courses. I am happy to participate in that center. Please put my name forward if it comes up. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Hi, Matt Valenti from Statler College. Provost Kreider, sorry if you gave this update, but what is the status of the WVU faculty ombuds? Has that been filled, or is that still an ongoing effort to fill the position?
So we have basically put that in the Senate's hands to sort of rekindle the search process. We're there to support. We're there to the person will report into the office of the provost, but we're here to support that search. I think we probably need to restate it. So I think that's where we are at this point.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Scott. Okay.
So it's something that
Scott will have to give you an update.
Okay. All right. So we should be doing this, and rather than incidentally, if you do go to the office of the Ombuds website and click on Meet the Ombuds, it still shows Christine Schimmel, the old Ombuds. So it might not be readily apparent that we don't have
Okay, thank you
one.
for that.
Yeah.
Natalie, you had a question for us?
Hi, yes, Natalie Corcoran, Eberly College. Paul, I'm not seeing anything about the draft revision on the provost website. So names of committee members, timeline, and I'm wondering when that might be posted.
Yeah, good question. I'll have to talk with Kimberly Becker in the office and see what the plans are for that, but we certainly need to get that up soon.
Thank you.
About the website. Oh, you did? Is it on the provost's page or is it on the president's? No, this is the GEF revision. You're asking about the GEF revision. Is that true, Natalie?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we'll check on that and we'll get something up soon.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Okay, next up is an update from Director of Academic Integrity, Paul Headings, on the use of AI.
afternoon, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to be here to talk about artificial intelligence. Obviously, this is something that has monumentally shifted the ground under our feet over the last several years. My office has dealt with hundreds of suspected incidents, confirmed incidents of AI misuse. I know we have a good number of faculty members who work with artificial intelligence on this campus, and that's wonderful. What I would say is there's not only at WVU, but worldwide, there are many faculty members who don't have that technical knowledge, and we're seeing miscommunications or lacks of understanding between our faculty and our students cause a lot of issues that we think can be solved with some baseline education. First, I'd like to just share an analogy from College of Law Vice Dean Jessica Hott about using AI generally. And I say this because it's the best way I've gotten a student to understand it. And so I hope that we can maybe share that out. A student without any training in AI using an artificial intelligence tool is like someone who doesn't know how to drive getting in a self-driving car. It doesn't automatically mean something is going to go wrong. What it means is that person doesn't have the knowledge, skills, or ability to diagnose and correct for issues that may arise. So that's really at the crux of what I try to instill in our students, is this understanding that I'm not saying AI is bad, I'm not saying AI is good. At this time, that's left to the individual faculty member for the course. What I'm saying is to our students, you need to be thinking about some ethical guideposts around your use. You need to be aware of privacy issues. You need to be aware of, to be blunt about it, some shady tools that are targeting our students with ads, making grandiose promises about their abilities to remain undetected if you just install this browser extension and allow me access to every file on your computer. And many people in this room can very quickly figure out why that would be a bad idea. But many of our students remain susceptible to some of those promises because they don't know how these tools work. They don't know what to expect, and they see a $20 a month way to not have to do their homework in some cases. So because of that, and also one thing, I'll share one more. I said this was global. The Digital Education Council's 2025 Global AI Faculty Survey found that only 6% of faculty who were surveyed fully agreed that their institution provided sufficient resources to train AI literacy, and that 83% of those surveyed said they were concerned that students cannot critically evaluate AI-generated outputs. So all of that to say, our office has been working to launch 2 modules that are not mandatory but are available to every faculty member at all 3 institutions that will provide some baseline understanding of artificial intelligence. Now, like I said, there is a large portion of our faculty who work with this every day. This is not really for you, to be honest. This is for folks who don't have that experience, that ability to conceptualize it, and certainly for our students, that ability to identify, diagnose, and correct for these issues when they come up. So those are embedded in the NE campus now. They're going up on Soul as well. I'm waiting for the confirmation that Soul IT has gotten that put up, but we'll share information on how to build those into your courses if you wish. Again, no one's required to use it. However, we hope that it could become a tool somewhat like the plagiarism avoidance tutorial, in that it just provides some baseline knowledge to get everyone on the same page from where we can go. I'll share a little bit of information. We have deployed the faculty modules. So the learning outcomes for that were to develop AI policies, communicate them clearly, design AI resilient assignments, understand the realities of AI detection, and respond to AI concerns fairly. And we have had 58 learners take that, mostly as part of new faculty orientation. And this is some of the data that we got back from surveying those learners. 86% said the module provided valuable insights into navigating AI in academia. 95% said it was presented in a clear and easy to understand manner. 86% said the strategies and guidance provided in the module are applicable to their role as an instructor. and 84% said they felt more confident addressing AI-related issues in their courses after completing the module. So with that, I'll just briefly share a couple of closing thoughts on that and then take some questions, which is, I do want to stress that this is not a mandatory module for anyone to use. This is another tool in our belt that we hope can take some stress off of our faculty members and can help them have more productive conversations with our students. We can help educate our students and protect them from some of the things we've unfortunately seen happen over the last couple of years. And my office always stands ready to help any faculty member in any way that we possibly can, not only in the space of artificial intelligence, but anything that we can do to help make your jobs and lives less stressful. Take questions.
Thank you. Brian Dilcher, School of Medicine. I'm actually the thread director for clinical informatics and AI in medicine. So question to you, maybe you're not specifically the right person, but in terms of the university's stance on bringing in-house a large language model that is secure for both intellectual property, HIPAA, FERPA data, so that we can provide our learners and faculty something that they can use without the fear of those privacy concerns. Have we investigated that yet or anything like that?
Yeah, so I'm not aware of what those conversations would be. My scope is very narrow to student academic integrity. I do fully agree with you that training and information on those specific issues like HIPAA and FERPA, that's actually something that our office trains on when we go out and talk with faculty, because that's just another one of those pitfalls a lot of people don't think about. But I can't share any information about bringing an LLM in-house because that's outside my lane.
I appreciate that. I would suggest maybe we bring that up through faculty senate or administration. Thanks.
Miriam Leary, School of Medicine. While we have you here, I like the modules, but I'm wondering what I can share with my faculty that might suspect a student has used AI on a homework assignment. How would you, as Director of Academic Integrity, like us to handle that? Just continue sending them, or if we feel like we don't really have any evidence and it's just, it looks advanced for a student, how do you want us to handle it?
Sure, I appreciate that question. What I would say is continue to send them, at least send us an email and let's talk about it. I understand that these come up very often. One of the things that I focus on in my role for the university is risk mitigation. And it's not just protecting our students from unfair practices, it's protecting our faculty from unknowingly making missteps that could cause them trouble down the line. And so I always encourage folks to reach out to me and let us talk through that. The faculty module actually walks through some of the common but questionable methods for detection. It talks about detectors, Trojan horses, and feeding the prompt into LLMs. We're feeding a student's paper into an LLM, which then again brings up some of those concerns about FERPA. So I would say continue to send them. I understand that that's a lot of work, trust me, but we want to be as helpful as we can in those situations to help navigate that. Because the reality of the situation is that there is no silver bullet to determine whether AI was used or not. Every case that we get gets a manual review, comparison to other student works, deep dive on the subject matter, which is a really long way around, but it's the way that is going to lead us most often to the truth and also protect our process and our people.
Thanks, Paul. Can you give me an idea of how long the module takes faculty to complete?
How long it takes?
Yeah.
I think the average runtime from those 58 was 35 minutes.
Great. Thank you.
Hey there, Catherine Fonseca, WV Libraries. Can you clarify if this was made in-house or obtained via a third-party vendor?
Yeah, so this was made by a third party that I co-founded. The university gets it for free. They didn't pay anything into the development. I've done this completely outside of the university. Like I said, it's not anything that is mandatory for anyone to use. We just saw a need for a tool. This organization is actually meant to help schools bring expertise in-house that they don't necessarily have or can't reasonably get in the short term. And so we made this available to our faculty and our students.
Okay, and is it tailorable, customizable based on feedback?
Sorry, I couldn't hear that. very well.
Is it customizable or is it just a blank?
It is. It is. It's customizable. Typically, it's customizable by school. There has been some internal discussion about customizing by college, but as far as like individual courses, that would be a really painstaking task to go through. The software that's used is Storyline from Articulate, and that's something that we don't have access to, or I don't have access to in my role with WVU, but we're able to do a lot of really good media integration, interactivity, and certainly happy to explore customization at any time.
And just to clarify for the rest of the body, because you mentioned the plagiarism avoidance tutorial, that was thrown out of the libraries and is made in-house, just to differentiate.
Absolutely. It's
Thank
a
you.
wonderful tool. We actually use it as an educational measure when we have students who plagiarize that brings them to our office. Absolutely love that tool. Thank you.
Daniel Brewster, Eberly College of Arts and Sciences. I think like probably many of us have already experienced a lot of this as it pertains to like writing assignments, but students are now using this much more for like just basic assessments, right? They're like, I watched a student in the airport like literally copy question by question by question. She wasn't one of our students, and I asked like, just do what I thought you did, and her husband started laughing, and she's like, yeah, and I was like, what's the program? She's like, nursing, right? And like, she wasn't one of our students, but like this summer I taught 3 online classes, and one of the things that Ultra allows you to do is to see everything that the student actively does in eCampus, right? So I could tell who opened the lectures, who did not open the lectures, who opened the PowerPoints, who did not open the PowerPoints. The vast majority of my students didn't open any of the resources, but they pulled like a high B average in this class, right? And I know like even when I write the questions in ways that are unique, they're just copying them into AI. Like, do you have a mechanism that's going to be able to like help train us for that as well? Or is it just for more writing assignment type products?
Sure. So that's very concerning that you would see that. I'm not surprised that you would see that, unfortunately, just with how widespread this use is, not only here, but all over higher education. The faculty module does provide that guidance, not only for writing assignments, but also just generally for how to shape assessment questions. I'm not going to lie to you. There is no silver bullet way. We do regularly pull logs from Ultra and have done so for years. That's a great resource for us to be able to know like who's logging in, where they're logging in. We use IP tracking, we use Duo GPS location data. We dig into a lot of things when we have investigations come up. I think one of the issues is we're going to continue to see companies try and provide tools or resources that are specifically to avoid our detection. And I want to share very quickly for those of you who haven't heard about Grammarly's newest tool. It's called the AI Grader. Grammarly will review a student's submission, tell it what it thinks your grade will be based on the professor's information. So you put in your instructor's first name, last name, and the course name, and it will scrape data from sites like Rate My Professors. You can upload your syllabus or the rubric for the assignment. And not only do they get what the AI thinks the score should be, it'll give comments in what it believes your voice as the instructor to be. And so that is teeing up, I believe, a lot of issues for this fall, in that students are no longer just turning things in and hoping for the best. They're coming in with certain ideas about what's going to happen, and anything less than that isn't going to be seen as academic freedom. I'm afraid for a good portion of our students, that's going to be viewed as a mistake and something that they want to fight.
Hi, Paul. Megan Light from the College of Creative Arts and Media. So just to confirm, is the student module live yet?
It is.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we can import it through like the ERS system or?
Yeah, so it's It is on eCampus. Currently, they have it in a course that I'm the instructor of. I asked them to put it into the university's library so that it can go into anyone's shell. I just hadn't heard from them before this meeting started to tell you the exact timeline on that, but that is the plan, is to make it something that people can deploy on their own within their course.
Relatively quickly. Okay. And then I just wanted to get an update. Are you all backlogged in your department on how many cases you have not been able to adjudicate yet? Can you give us a number there?
Yeah, I wouldn't say we're backlogged right now. The beginning of the semester is traditionally a much slower time. We still have some stragglers from summer 2 that just, the students haven't responded to emails or haven't completed sanctions. So we have some cases that aren't closed. As far as our backlog, I wouldn't say I can think of one case that I'm investigating now. It's a doctoral student, which is a very different situation than most. That's been around for a couple weeks, but that's probably the oldest case that I have right now.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Paul, one more. Miriam Larry School of Medicine, and I don't know if you can answer this, but thinking about trying to do genuine assessment of our students, one of the best ways to do that on campus is to send them to the testing center. And that has been an incredible resource for faculty. And we use it a lot and it's great, but it's also getting pretty well booked up. So I'm wondering if anybody from administration, are we considering adding more testing centers? And I know the health sciences would benefit from one, but just with the landscape of AI, it feels like more testing centers on campus to support this would be a good call. So any
No, absolutely. Could not agree with you more. I will praise the testing center till my last day at WVU. Having multiple high definition angles of someone engaging in dishonesty is priceless. I actually had a young woman, just a quick anecdote, a young woman this past academic year try to tell me that she was doing a certain health related thing on her phone that she had to respond to immediately. And we were actually able to zoom in from the camera directly above her and show her herself swiping through PowerPoint slides in her photo gallery. So absolutely. As far as expansion, again, that's out of my lane. I am aware that there have at least been conversations about that with HSC specifically, and the ability to do that. But I would defer to others from the Provost's office on where those may be.
Can anybody in the Provost's office comment at this time? That's great news. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up is an update from the research office from Interim Vice President for Research, Dr. Ming Lee.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, everyone. I'm delighted to be here. And as we enter the new, okay. Well, I can keep on talking until the slides come up. And as we enter the new Benson area, and I'm excited that we have the broad and strong interest of our whole community, ranging from our faculty, from faculty to our president, to our board, to take a fresh look at research and the role of research. No? I didn't upload it. I send you the email. Can you upload the email? All right, so while we're looking, I'll keep on making a few remarks. So I'm excited that we have the opportunity to take a fresh look at research and what research means to the university. So before I get started, I want to follow up what Paul just said. First of all, thank you for doing that important work on how to use AI responsibly. But I would venture to be a little bit on the more progressive side. I would say it's not that not good or not bad. I would say AI is good. Just from the questions we heard, ranging from Megan from creative art to Miriam from School of Medicine, you actually got a sense what the great impact AI will have. So it's a good thing. We just need to learn how to use it lawfully, responsibly, and let's say ethically. So I'm probably going to touch on that a little bit, but are we going to get the slides or not? Okay, good. So as we look into research, I would say WVU is a land-grant research university. As any other research university, there are two core missions. One is knowledge dissemination. The other one is knowledge expansion. So knowledge dissemination is primarily through education. That is our education mission. And knowledge expansion is driven by research, by scholarship, right? So right there, you will say that research is one of the two critical pillars of a research university. And because I primarily work on the research space, I would venture to make an argument that research makes a significant contribution to our, yes, here we go, to our education mission as well. Next slide, please. Because as President Benson just mentioned, scholarship is critically important for our faculty. So on the faculty side, research is absolutely critical for our faculty recruitment, retention, and scholarship development. And that really is a foundational piece to the university's health. And to the student, what research offers is a unique set of opportunities that set us apart from universities, colleges that do not have that capacity. So therefore, offers them the opportunity. Yeah, next click, please. Okay, that's what I just showed you, the two pillars. Next, please. So this is where my argument is critically important to make a contribution to our education mission is to the faculty and to the student. It offers students the quality education, enhance their competitiveness on job market, and also you have heard over and over again how important enrollment it is. And the research element, I believe, contribute strongly and significantly to our ability to attract students. Next click. So because we're a land-grant university, so we also need to, we have responsibility for our state's economic development as well as our residents' health, improve their health. And those, I would argue that research really drives our ability to help state's economy and improving health. So this is how I look into research. Obviously, to my biased perspective, is smack right in the middle and center of everything. But for those of you who agrees with me, I would encourage you to reach out to share my slides so that you can use it however, whenever you can use it. To students, to your deans, and most importantly, to our alums. All right. So with that, what is the role of the research office? Next click, please. Without getting to too much specific right here, basically the research office, in my view, is to provide service to the faculty, to the student, and leadership to help the university to set priorities to facilitate the research enterprise in the university to prosper, to meet our research and education missions. All right, next slide, please. So where are we? So we are R1 institution by the Carnegie Foundation's classification. So for those of you who are not familiar, Carnegie institution collect research and education data, and based on the data, they put institutions in different categories. If you're designated as an R1, that means you are the highest tier of research-focused university. And right now, there are 187 of them, and we are one of them. Secondly, it really signals that our commitment, the university's commitment to groundbreaking research and knowledge expansion, as I mentioned a slide ago. So quantitatively, the criteria is set as follows. The university or institution has to spend a minimum of $50 million on R&D, and that it has to graduate 70 research doctorates every year. So to put it in context, while the 50 million is the threshold, the average R1 institutions, however, spend $750 million on research. Why there is such a big discrepancy? Because the really, really top tier universities, they spend a lot. Like Johns Hopkins is number one. They have about $4 billion a year. So, and on average, a typical R1 institution graduate 300 research doctorates. So we are at 200. So we're good on that. So also in context, the second tier naturally is R2 after R1, has actually a pretty steep drop. So the research R&D expenditure threshold for that is 5 million, and they need to graduate 20 research doctorates. So we have been an R1 institution since 2016. And we are above the threshold as using the official number available, that is for FY23, we spend $246 million on R&D university-wide. And as I mentioned, we graduate about 200 research doctorates each year. And we are the only R1 institution in the state. The state has another R2 institution, that is Marshall University, and that's it. So we can't afford to lose it. Otherwise, we don't have one. So let me see. And this also, to put everything in context, this places us at a 121 in terms of expenditure in among the 187. So we're good, but we are sort of in the third bucket if you divide this 180-ish to three groups. And we are proud that President Gee, in his farewell letter to the community, actually lists achieving the R1 status as his #1 achievement in his tenure. And we, as a university, and we need everybody to work together because, as I'm going to show you later, really we need our collective strength to get our R1 status, because we really have everything. We have an academic medical center, we have various disciplines in STEM, humanities, social science, business, law, agriculture. So that is our strength. Next slide. So our research is primarily funded by federal sources. So this is a breakdown. So amongst our $246 million expenditures, 47% are directly from federal agencies. There are another 8% we list as others are also primarily federal funded, but we just got those monies through other institutions. So the majority of our funding is from the federal funding sources. And the second biggest bucket is the orange color. That is the institutional expenditure. I'm going to dive into that a little bit so that it's an effort for me to demystify the different numbers, all the numbers in the R1 designation requirement. So on the right, just quickly to show you that the funding sources, the federal sources, the number one source is NIH, National Institute of Health, and then it's National Science Foundation, Department of Energy, Department of Agriculture, then is Department of Energy, and NASA, and finally Department of Defense. So the federal funding together, we have $114 million, and that similar to our placement in terms of overall expenditure, that places us at 126. All right. Next slide, please. So I said we have 37% of our expenditure is by the university. So where do we get the funds? So this is a breakdown. So you can see 37% really translate a little over $90 million. It's a very big number. So if we put it into several different buckets, one bucket is the waived F&A, so indirect cost, because those of you who paid attention, you probably heard that a lot of discussions this year about F&A rate or indirect rate. So that's what that is relevant to. So currently, we have a negotiated rate at 53% with the federal government. So for most of the agencies, like NIH, NSF, they honor this rate. So we get 53%. The other sources, some of them don't necessarily honor that. They say, we only give you 30% or even 10% from some industry. You still want the award. Most of the time, we say yes. But if you calculate that, following the idea that research actually costs money, right? The building needs light, you need plumbing, so we do spend money. Therefore, for every dollar of indirect we waive, that is income that we did not recover. So that counts for about $18 million. Another big bucket is cost share. What cost share means that some funding agencies, they say, we give you a grant on condition you put some money in. So some agencies require a lot. And for the good of our university, for our research enterprise, most of the time, we make a great effort to do that as well. So currently, I am a PI on a grant. Actually, we need to put in 40% of cost sharing. So that counts a big part of that cost. That is about $4 million. So to make our faculty member competitive, right? In today's world, we have to often need to provide startups. And when the faculty member has a funding gap, we need to provide bridging fund. So that part is investment. We spend about $15 million. And the next big bucket is graduate tuition waiver, right? So we, graduate students are a major research workforce for us, for the whole enterprise. So, but graduate students, they're students, and the university typically charge tuitions. But at WVU, we waive the graduate student tuition. So that is count for about $19 million, right? Then the next two categories, university research, departmental research, that counts almost everything else, including our maintenance for facilities, our essential supporting staff, the grants management, compliance staff, and all that at university level, at the college level, and departmental level. So that's adding together. That's a breakdown of our expenditures. Just to give you an idea how to look at our numbers and where we are in terms of our financial commitment. Next slide. After the financial aspect, if we look at the degrees, as I mentioned, there is a requirement for how many research doctorates we graduate. So as I mentioned, we graduate on average about 200 research doctorates. So if you look at this is FY23, so that the colleges are not exactly aligned with the college names of today, but they more or less, you see, those are almost in every college, we graduate research doctorates. And the three major colleges that graduate a lot of research doctorates are Statler, Alberley, and Health Science Center together, all right? So, but together we adds up to about 200. Next slide, please. So what does R1 really mean? So I already said a lot of this, but to summarize, really is about reputation and prestige. First of all, in the United States, there are about 4,000 higher education institutions that include 2 years, 4 years colleges. Being R1 places us at the fifth percentile, the top 5th percentile. That is pretty good, right? So by virtue of in that group, it helps us for student enrollment, retention, and job placement. It helps us in faculty recruitment and retention, and also it helps us in fundraising. So to further elaborate a little bit why it gets to help us in those three different aspects is, first of all, as I mentioned, it's really being an R1 signifies that our commitment to providing students the quality education, the research, hands-on research experience that will help them to get better jobs. And to faculty member really signifies our commitment to their research career, to their scholarship development. And to the philanthropists, this really signals that our capacity, our ability to make scientific discoveries and technology advancement that has the potential to commercialize and to improve lives so that they put their dollar where actually is meaningful. Next slide, please. So above the Carnegie R1, there's another group, it's American University, American Association of Universities, right? So this basically is the top 1/3 of the R1 institutions, right? I mentioned that we're sort of at the third group of the R1 institutions. This will be the next group that we are not in yet, right? This is, as I showed here, there are 71 now, and 69 of them are in the United States. And while we are not there, some of our peer institutions, like 5 of the Big 12 institutions, universities, are AAU schools. All right, next slide, please. So the next, I want to switch gear, talk a little bit about the impact of the changes in the federal research funding. We heard a lot this year. So without getting too much specifics, I will say all of us have been bombarded by a lot of news, either on the executive orders or legislative efforts or court actions. There are lots of changes being proposed or debated. But the bottom line is that just because there was little consensus, literally no agreement, so up to this point, few of those proposed changes have become either law or policy. So we are in a state that is uncertain, but we're not technically in the sort of bad situation yet, all right? That's where we are. It's uncertain, but we're going to see. Because of that, although we heard a lot of there is a lot of anxiety, uncertainty there, but up to this point, at least from this research standpoint, right? I know that in higher ed, a lot of the education aid has been cut, but research-wide, we are actually only have limited impact, right? We only have 17 grants being terminated among actually less than 50K. That's pretty small compared to what we have overall. And we are getting grants, we're receiving grants in a healthy rate, and we don't have the final numbers yet because the federal fiscal year is different from our fiscal year, is still ongoing. And as of now, our major funding sources, NIH and NSF, are still giving us indirect at a 53%. So that's where we are. And so I would preach that be resilient, being optimistic. And I think there is a reason, maybe this is just me, there is reason to be optimistic because for all that we have heard, all the argument is to make American more competitive. And I personally don't believe we can be competitive or anywhere near be competitive without doing research. And for WVU, and from all the data we have shown, if we don't thrive and we don't grow on research, I don't think WVU will go very far either. So we will be doing research. And I'm delighted to hear that President Benson actually answering one of the questions showed his commitment to support research. Next slide, please. So where we want to be. The first bullet point, I basically put 3 elements in. From an administration standpoint, we need to maintain a strong commitment to research. And on the faculty side, everybody should still working hard, trying to get more funding, do impact for research. And from those of us in the supporting capacity, the research office, for example, we need to provide more effective service. I'm going to get into that a little bit more. So I want to, a little breakdown on this. I think as a land grant institution, we do need to focus on questions or problems that affect West Virginia the most. Solve real problems. And we do need to leverage and catch up with the cutting edge technology, such as AI. This is a difference maker. So if we don't catch on, we'll be behind. And I'm a strong believer for all of our undergraduate to increase the opportunities for them to participate in research. And I would like to see one day that we can make an announcement that every WVU student, you want to do research, we have a place for you to do that. Next slide, please. So I want to spend a few minutes to say what we're trying to do in the research office in terms of trying to provide better service. Those of you who paid attention this morning, you may have saw that we made an announcement to realign the responsibilities in the senior leadership in the research office. So we basically give each associate vice president a clearly defined portfolio or responsibility, one focused on the grants administration and the Office of Sponsored Programs, that is front and center for the service the research office should provide. And this is the area that we want to focus, to improve, to meet the faculty investigators' needs. And we want to strengthen our research development service so that to provide faculty the information, the opportunity to collaborate, and the service to develop stronger applications. And third domain is the compliance. We need to do research in a safe and responsible way, and we really cannot mess up because the penalties for that are severe. So that's a compliance. And finally, with President Benson's support, we appointed a new associate vice president, focus our effort on commercialization, tech transfer, and he will lead. Many of you probably know this individual, David Sutterfield, who has a long history in the economic development and in the university. So this is a realignment of the research office service. And also I put myself as role before I step into the research office. And that signals that we will strengthen the interactions, the synergies between the Health Science Center and the main campus. Next click, please. And keep on, click a few more. So all this restructure, realignment basically is with the purpose or objective to provide more efficient service in different areas. All right, next. So the next idea we want to pursue really is have a stronger connection with the faculty members. So we want to, in the previous slides, you may saw that we want to have a research council. So that is to have our research leaders among our faculty, to have a small group. They can advise the vice president of research, whoever that is, to identify priorities and to help promote our faculties and national scene to gain recognition and to communicate with our faculty members. So stay tuned. If you're invited, hopefully you will consider. Do not turn us down, right? Next slide, please. So I want to come back to this cartoon to re-emphasize as a land grant research university, research is really, really critical. It's critical for our mission. So it's up to all of us to make research grow. And I want to thank you. And let's see, that's any questions I can answer. Next, I think that's it. Yeah.
Questions?
All right, great. Thank you.
Attached. Attached to the agenda for as an information item is Annex 2. As mentioned before, the committees and all the work that they do, once a year, the committees do write up annual reports of their auctions. If you're interested in what about a half dozen of them did in 24-25, you can read that in Annex 2. We will now move on for an approval item to consider Annex 3, the renewal of the Collaboration Committee as a special committee. The Collaboration Committee has been around for a few years. Basically, it's a way for senators to work with the provost office and kind of deal with a few kind of like often sort of broad questions in advance to get sort of ahead of some things that might otherwise come up if we're not all talking with one another simultaneously. And so it's often a way to connect the provost office with especially the curriculum committee, with TACO and with the JEFCO. And so it's been very, very useful the last couple of years. So we would like to pursue it again because it's a special committee. It has to be reauthorized every single year. Do I hear a motion to reauthorize? Do I hear a second? Thank you. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote on the resolution to renew the Collaboration Committee. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. We will now move to consider Annex 4, renewal of the Student Recruitment and Retention Committee as a standing committee. So this is a bit different. This committee was also created about a couple of years ago to deal with to create pathways basically for faculty greater involvement in recruitment and retention and to put more faculty ideas as part of that process. I know personally, a lot of y'all just personally value this. But of course, also it's an important part of the revenue that this university has to generate. So the more we can do to kind of help that, often is the better as well. Do I hear a motion to approve Annex 4 and create a standing committee for recruitment and retention? And Miriam, second. All in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. All opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. We have a new standing committee. Is there any new business, perhaps from a senator in the College of Creative Arts and Media?
I know I've used up all my goodwill by this point, but I just think everybody in this room should know about what's called the Retail Lab. It is a business opened on High Street. It is run by students, or faculty merchandising students. It curates and sells vintage secondhand clothing, original artworks by designers. You can bring in your gently used clothes, especially now that like all the clothes that we used to wear is cool again. So you can bring it in, you can get money for it if you really want, you could donate it. It also is connected to the career closet. So if you have old clothes that are professional clothes, you want to give, so students, when they interview, they can kind of borrow some of our clothes. That's great, but it is on High Street across from Monkey Wrench Books near Pathfinder. Help make High Street cool again. Come to the Retail Lab. There's a grand opening on September 12th, but you can come. It's open now Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So thank you for your time.
If it's permissible, I'll also add one thing because I don't think you said. This is a joint venture with, also with Main Street, and so it's a valuable example of what, of the university and the community working together. Is there any other new business? Hearing none, we are adjourned. See you in October. Oh, sorry.